our SWE section, and I would love to introduce Caitlin. So Caitlin, if you would like, you can introduce yourself as well.
Yes, hi everyone. So I'm Caitlin. I am a senior in computer science here at UTD. I am the competitions chair for SWE this year, and I'm directing SWE Match. So I'm sure that a lot of y'all have seen the applications. They opened up yesterday. They're in this Weekly. They're on our website. They're on our social media. Like, go and apply. It's going to be a fantastic program. It's a engineering competition, and so yeah, that's me.
Perfect. So Caitlin, would you like to kind of start off and introduce what exactly we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. So we're going to start off with what is LinkedIn? Why do we need LinkedIn? What is it used for? We're basically going to try and convince you right off the bat that you need a LinkedIn if you don't have one. You should go make one. Then we're going to do a deep dive into profiles, and we're going to look over all the things that you need in a profile, all the things that are optional in a profile, and the best ways to really showcase yourself on a profile. Then we're going to talk about posts. So we're going to go over what kinds of posts there are, things you should post about, how to go about doing that, all of that. Then we have a section about career connections. So those will be things like how to message recruiters, how to message people that are in fields that you want to work in, to schedule one-on-one chats, and when that's appropriate and how to do that. And we're going to be talking about that. And then in the last part of it, we have a surprise guest who is a LinkedIn influencer who is going to kind of pull together everything we talked about in how she goes about just being amazing on LinkedIn. So yeah, let's get started.
Perfect. So what is exactly LinkedIn? So LinkedIn is a social media platform like, Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok. And typically as a college student, like when you wake up, you usually scroll through Instagram or normal social media, but I typically scroll through LinkedIn. So that just kind of talks about how active I am. And I think especially as a college student, if you really want to put yourself out there so recruiters can see what you bring to the table, and just meeting like-minded individuals from all over the world, I think it's a really great way to connect with amazing people. And so LinkedIn essentially just gives you the credibility to establish yourself as a trustworthy employee. And I think it's just a really great way to showcase what you bring to the table. So now that we kind of gave a brief introduction about what LinkedIn is, I have an example of a great LinkedIn and maybe a LinkedIn which needs a little bit more improvement. So I want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit more about my LinkedIn profile and what I've done. So Caitlin, perfect.
Now we're looking at Maida's amazing profile. She's our good example, guys.
Yes. So in your LinkedIn profile, I think it's really cool to showcase a banner which shows who you are as a person. I personally love just trying to promote and advocate for women in technology and engineering. So I really wanted to showcase that. And teal is my favorite color. If people see me on campus, basically everything I own is teal. So I wanted to showcase a little bit of that tealness in my banner as well. So it shows who you are. From there, headlines are really important. And I typically just showcase who I am as a person. And from there, just some of the conferences that I'm attending. So recruiters also know where to reach out to me so we can possibly schedule interviews for certain positions. So if you're going to any conferences, make sure to kind of include that in your headlines as well, so some of the recruiters know. From there, if you scroll down, Caitlin, the about statement. So the about statement is very important. Actually, in one of my prior internships, the HR team actually mentioned to me that they really liked my about statement, and that's what really captivated them to hire me or reach out to me in the first place. So in my about statement, yes, I do include some of the skill sets and what I bring to the table, but I also talk about myself and some of my interests as well. So I was a part of Girl Scouts in high school, and I'm still love to be active in the Girl Scout community. So I really do stress that in my about statement and how I want to give back to my community and just some of the amazing organizations I'm a part of as well. So that's just a little bit about my about statement as well. So it's not as short, but it's just a paragraph version of it. From there, I have some of my experiences. And in my profile specifically, I include some of my past internship experiences and just some of the organizations I'm a part of as well. And that's just like a little bit of my experiences and my education. So I included my college and also my high school as well. And within my high school, I also wanted to show how I was really active in my community, and especially if there are freshmen or sophomores on the call, like make sure that you include some of the activities and societies you were part of within your high school life as well, because I think it shows recruiters how all-rounded you are. And then some of the volunteer experiences as well that I've been a part of. And skills and endorsements. So I personally think this section is important because it really shows to the recruiters what you're good at and how they can utilize your strengths at that job. And especially if some people can endorse you for those skills, that is amazing because it shows that someone is vouching for you. So it adds credibility to your profile in general. And same with recommendations as well. So if you scroll down real quick, I have some recommendations from people who have been my managers in some of my prior internships. And it's really great that they're able to encapsulate what I was able to bring to the table and the work that I've done as well. So it's great to hear it not only from my perspective, but from their perspective and how I was able to contribute. So I think it allows potential recruiters to know what you can actually bring to the table, because there's some people that you worked with that are providing amazing recommendations. So that's something to consider as well. And finally, accomplishments. So I included some of my coursework because within your resume, you can add like all of the coursework, but I wanted to highlight that I have taken several CS and engineering classes as well. So some of the courses I've taken and awards that I've won as well. So I think that's also a really key aspect to a really great LinkedIn. So before we go on, I just want to stop real quick. This is a lot of information. So does anyone have any like quick questions or want to understand more about what I did through this process?
I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
For the recommendation, do you have to personally ask the person that you work with, or do they just automatically do it for you? How does that work?
That's a great question. It also depends on the employee, because with one of my recommendations that I received, that employee wasn't as active in LinkedIn, and she said that, oh yeah, I want to provide you a recommendation or a referral. So like if there are potential companies that want to like reach out, they can have the opportunity. And I said, actually, it would be great if you could provide me a recommendation. So I straight up asked my manager because she wanted to provide that recommendation, but she didn't know how. But for other people as well, if they want to just provide a recommendation, they can. But there's no harm in asking, because if they're providing you an insight and what if they are telling you what you bring to the table, you can ask them, hey, can you like showcase that so everyone else can see what I brought to the table as well. So don't feel shy to ask.
Thank you.
And we'll talk more about how to ask in the Career Connection section of the workshop as well. So we'll do a deep dive into that.
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead.
Does anyone have another question?
Yeah, I have a good question. So you can ask your professor as well to recommend, or no, for your academic record, like.
Yeah, I mean, if if let's just say you like your professor can really vouch for some of the dedication or hard work that you brought to the table, or if they saw that you went above and beyond on some of the coursework, I don't see any harm in asking them as well. I'm mostly stuck to industry experience because I want to go the industry line, but especially if you want to go into research or higher education, I think having a professor vouch for you is really great as well.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Any other quick questions? Perfect. Okay, so now that I kind of went through a decent looking LinkedIn profile that...
A very good LinkedIn profile.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. But a LinkedIn profile that recruiters typically like to see. I wanted to provide you guys an example of not the best profile, which is AKA my cousin's. So he has no idea that I'm doing this, but my cousin's LinkedIn profile. And just tell me some ways that he can improve his profile. So yeah, he has some of his experiences. If you scroll down, he included his like education and interests. But what other things, based on seeing a decent looking profile, can my cousin improve on in this profile? So if you guys want, you guys can include some of those comments in the chat box or even just voice them out.
I think you could probably include a about section.
That's very key, because your about statement is essentially like your elevator pitch, which I know Jan Rose and Afrida did a really great job in yesterday. But recruiters, if they want to see your profile, your about statement is essentially your elevator pitch. So really great point, Neha. A lot of people are saying a profile picture or a unique background. Those are some really great points because it doesn't really showcase your character otherwise. Yeah, any accomplishments, schoolwork. And Jisha brought up a really great point, only a few connections. And that's a really great point. And we will talk a little bit more in terms of how you can create those connections. So really, really great observations here. And then Arushi also said skills, and that's also very true. I think it's important to showcase some of the skill sets you bring to the table. So these are some really great observations, you guys. You guys are really grasping on really fast. So I will now turn it over to Caitlin.
Loading. Okay. Yeah. So next, let's do a deep dive into the real mechanics of what you need in your profile. You guys seem to be grasping, honestly, with that last activity, but we're just going to kind of talk about all the like super like things you need to have, things that are recommended to have, and things that are pretty optional. So I have here a screenshot of my LinkedIn profile, and I have a I have, first of all, the first thing you see is a professional profile picture. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So a professional profile picture does not necessarily have to be a professional headshot done in a studio somewhere with perfect lighting. It can be a picture of yourself that you enjoy, but it has to be very high quality. You have to be, with the clothes you're wearing, you have to be wearing kind of business casual clothes. Or something nicer, like not just like a hoodie or something like that. And it shouldn't be a selfie. So don't take a selfie and go like, oh, this will be my LinkedIn profile picture. Like that doesn't put the right that doesn't put the right air about you on your LinkedIn profile. So the profile picture is the very first thing that a recruiter looking at your profile will see. So it needs to be one of the strongest parts of your profile. So like this profile picture, mine, see, I have on a blazer, I have on like a nice shirt, like, and jewelry and makeup and all that stuff, but this was just taken on my balcony. Like my dad took this on my balcony. So it doesn't have to be a big deal, but just make sure that you are putting your best foot forward. Be yourself and if you want to add a little bit of personality, do it, but make sure that it's in a professional and in putting your best foot forward. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the banner. So as you can see here, my banner is a little bit different from Maida's. I think that this picture is funny, and it's a picture from when I was a project manager in ACM projects, and that is both a time of my life that I cherish. I really love doing that, but it's also some professional experience. So this is a funny picture. I think it adds a lot of voice to my profile and a little bit of whimsy, but it's also showcasing something professional that I did. And it's something that you can see, like the people in the picture are wearing like the ACM hoodies, and you can see later that, oh, like I have positions in ACM and I've made my mark. So like when you're picking a banner, Maida's way to do it is great, and like put in some graphics and stuff like that that you think are that like showcase who you are, or like whatever banner you pick, like if you have a big picture like this, throw it in there, but make sure that it's adding something. Make sure it's adding some information. So whether like explicitly or implicitly, there are so many different ways to do it, but just make sure that it's adding value. Next up, we have the about statement that I want to talk about. So the about statement is kind of like your elevator pitch, but longer. So this is the first thing that a recruiter is, I guess the second thing that a recruiter is going to read about you. The first long form thing that a recruiter is going to see about you. So you need to treat it like it's a first impression. So as you can see in mine, I kind of greet the reader and I say like, hi, like I'm a senior in computer science. Here's all the things I'm interested in. Here's all the things that I do in my free time. And it's fairly long form, and it's only one paragraph. Maida's is longer, but like it showcases all the things that are important to me. And so kind of the way that I always start, if you're kind of like, I don't know what to put in an about section, the way that I always start is with my name, with since I'm a college student, I start out with my year and my major and school. And I put in that I'm a C5 honor student. Even if you are a C5 honor student, if it doesn't work with the vibe that you're looking for, then don't throw it in there. I like to put it in there. I talk about when I'm graduating, because for me, I'm fast tracking, so it's a little bit complicated. So make sure that a recruiter reading this make sure you're answering questions that they're going to have in other parts of the profile. So in parts of my profile, it says that I'm graduating from UTD twice. And that's going to be a question for a recruiter. So if there's anything on your profile that like needs some extra explanation, put it in your about statement. And then I have the organizations that I'm a part of, the leadership positions that I have. And then this is completely a me thing, but I think it's a really great thing, is I like to put a little bit about what I like to do outside of professional experiences. That really won't go anywhere else in my profile, but I think that it really makes me seem like a well-rounded person. Like these are my interests outside of computer science and outside of my professional life. So I like to put that I'm outdoorsy and things like that. And it's just a quick little sentence just to kind of like add a little extra bit of personality. That's kind of what we're looking for, is like personality. And you're trying to make yourself look unique to a recruiter that's looking at your profile, and give as much information about yourself as possible and make them remember you. And so then the rest of the profile is going to be everything that's in your resume plus more. So your resume is only one page, right? It's only one page, everyone. I know it's hard. I have a really hard time keeping it all on one page, but it's only one page. You can't have all the stuff that you want to have on it. That's the nature of a resume. But all of that stuff should be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn should be a landing page for everything that you've pretty much ever done that's important to you. And so things that don't fit on your resume, put them on your LinkedIn. Things that do fit on your resume, put them on your LinkedIn. Like your LinkedIn, so your LinkedIn should be, what is that called in set theory? What is that, superset, right? Your LinkedIn should be like all the stuff that you do, and your resume should be a subset of that. So next I'm going to kind of go into how to personalize your profile really quick. So I have my profile open here. So there's a button to add a section. I have most of the sections I need. But this is what yours is going to look like as you're looking at it. So I have my about statement here. I can edit that here. I have my dashboard for post views and stuff, and we'll talk about posts in a bit. I have all my activity here. So these are posts and comments that I've made and stuff like that. And then I have my work experience. And this is kind of where my philosophy differs a little bit from Maida's. And that is that I put typically work experience as like paid experience and extracurriculars and volunteer experience. If that makes a little more sense to you, do it that way, like 100%. And then, yeah, but that's kind of like all these little pencils and stuff like that. Like that's where you're editing all this stuff. And then also there's a button up here to edit your public profile. And what you can do with that is you can edit your personal URL for your profile. And this is the URL that, see, it's really pretty. So like this is a pretty URL for your profile. And this is the one that's going to go on your resume and go on your go on like a personal website. Like if you have we have a personal website workshop coming up, right? So like when you make that personal website, put your LinkedIn on it. And so that's where that can be changed right here. And that's a question that I hear a lot about LinkedIn is how to change that URL, and that's how. So you go from your edit profile area with all your stuff and you say edit public profile and URL. You do that over here. So, I just was thinking, now that we kind of all know a little bit about what needs to go in an about statement, I wanted to see if anyone on the call wanted to share theirs. Doesn't have to be super practiced or anything like that, obviously, because I'm giving you 7 seconds of notice. But I'd love to hear your long form elevator pitch. That would kind of be your about statement. If anybody wants to unmute themselves and tell us a little about themselves. Anyone?
I can go around. It's gonna be very rough though.
Woo! Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm taking part of this off of the objective section on my resume. But to start off, hi, I'm Natasha Rahman. I'm a junior, major in mechanical engineering with a minor in marketing. As far as positions go, I'm very interested in technical sales or marketing positions for accessibility products, with the hopes of making the products more available to the target market customers. Target market being customers with disabilities. Yeah, I'll expand on that more, but just giving the companies a better understanding of what I'm looking towards in a position, I guess.
I think that that's amazing. And I love how you put in there a very specific example of like what you want to do in the future. Like, because like not all of us know, but since you know exactly like the roles you're looking for, the things you want to work on, put all of that in the about statement. That's going to make it really, really powerful. So I think that that's a really great start. And I know you said it was rough, but I think that was a really great start. Make sure to leave all of that in there, and even like go longer form, like keep writing. You know, you saw Maida's was 3 paragraphs. Like, do not be short about it. Make sure that you're getting your voice out there.
Yeah, I think I got the skeleton in my head, but writing it out right now in my head is hard.
Yeah, 100%. No worries. That was really great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Maida's gonna say something. Okay. Cool. So thank you so much. And I hope that this helped a little bit with your about statements. So the next thing we're going to go into is posts. So posts are the backbone of your LinkedIn. So you have your profile, but your profile is pretty set. Like it's things that you've done, and it's pretty high level things that you've done. So to get lower level into what am I doing now? What did I do yesterday that would be interesting to a recruiter? All that stuff, that all goes in posts. So posts on LinkedIn should be academic successes. Did you get a 4.0 last semester? Post about it. Career successes. This is things like I accepted an internship offer, or I just finished an internship, or I just got this new job. Those are things you should post about. Extracurricular successes. So things like I'm going to be posting about this workshop in a few minutes. Right after this workshop, I'm going to be posting about that and kind of talking about like, hey, like this is something that I'm really proud of. So whenever you feel like you're proud of something and it goes with your like career goals, post about it. You really cannot post enough on LinkedIn. And if you have a longer post that you like, something longer form that you want to talk about and like really deep dive into something that's important to you, write a Medium article. I have over here a picture of the Medium article that I wrote at the end of my Amazon internship last summer. And it's what does it say, like a 7-minute read? So it's a longer form thing. And then I took the URL from that and I put it in a LinkedIn post. And LinkedIn makes it look all pretty and professional, and it looks really, really good. So I would seriously, like, to get really specific, I would seriously, if you just finished an internship, write a longer form reflection about it and post it on LinkedIn, or anything that's longer form that you want to talk about, things that are important to you, write a Medium article and post it on LinkedIn. The whole point here is to be getting your voice out there as much as possible. You want to be, you want quality and quantity here, right? So when someone comes to your profile, you have that about statement, and that's kind of a taste of your voice. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is like your about statement is your voice, your posts are going to be your voice, your Medium articles are your voice. You want somebody that's looking at your profile, looking at your post, to get, every time they see you post, you want them to get a better understanding of your personality and your work ethic, because then they can more easily see, oh, this will be a great candidate for my job. So the whole point here is to get your voice out there, post about everything, make sure that your profile is always up to date, even if it's just something small that you're really proud of. I personally, if nobody else, I want to hear about all the stuff you're proud of. And I know that other people do too, but I love seeing stuff like that on LinkedIn, where I can really tell that, wow, like, you have this accomplishment that you are really, really proud of. That's what we want to see. So post about everything. And then lastly, I have some stuff about algorithms. So LinkedIn, like every other social network, has some algorithms. And here are ways to make your posts stand out in those algorithms. Tag people and companies as much as possible. If you're talking about a person, do not put their name in there. At them every time, no matter who you're talking about, no matter for what small reason, at them. And if you can't at them because they don't have a LinkedIn profile, go and text that person to make a LinkedIn profile and send them our workshop, because you need to be tagging people and companies whenever you post about them, because that gets your posts to have more reach. So make sure you're always tagging people and companies whenever you post about them. Also, use hashtags. Hashtags are huge on LinkedIn. There's a ton of, there's a hashtag for everything. That's the whole point to hashtags. So if you're posting, just to go back to the example of like the intern wrap, I call it the internship wrap up post, where you go, I just finished an internship over here and here's my project and all that stuff. When you're posting that, like, do hashtag intern, hashtag whatever company you worked at, hashtag reflection, take almost every keyword from your post and make it a hashtag. And there are two different ways to do that. So I'm of the philosophy that I like to write out my whole post and then put the hashtags at the end. But I know some people like to put their hashtags, embed them in their paragraphs, and that completely works too. Just totally a difference of philosophy. But just every keyword should be hashtagged, so that people looking at those hashtags, recruiters that care about those skills and things, will see that post on their dashboard. Also, something that's
just real quick, you did a really great job about using the hashtags, but also there's a feature on LinkedIn where you can create your own hashtag. So I personally know some of my friends who write several articles and posts. They create their own hashtags to showcase how they're growing. For instance, I have a friend, her name is Grace, and she created a hashtag called Growing Gracefully. I have another friend that her name is like Ashwini, and she has a hashtag that says Ashwini Says, for instance. So those are just some really great examples where you can also be involved and you can have a lot more feed and publicity. So let's just say you use that own hashtag in some of your posts as well. You can get a lot of traction to that hashtag as well. And recruiters will be like, wow, like, she's active in this way, and this is how she's growing. So you can document your growth within LinkedIn as well, which is kind of cool.
That's great advice. Yeah, definitely. If you can think of like a hashtag for yourself, post all of your posts on that. And then there's like, then it creates a really nice page basically of like a feed of all of your posts. That's really, really great advice. Definitely do that. And then the last thing about algorithms is comment on every post that seems normal to comment on. Just anytime that a friend of yours does something awesome, comment on it. Like anytime that you have a question or want to throw your opinion into the ring about something, feel free to comment on posts, because then you're helping those people because their posts show up on anyone who's connected with you, but then your name is showing up for anyone that's connected with them. So to get more connections and have your name show up more often on people's pages, make sure that you're commenting on as many of these posts as you can and feel comfortable doing. If you have something to say it. Comments are really, really powerful. So next up, I have another question for you. So somebody want to unmute and say, like, is there something that you've done recently that you're now going to go post about on your LinkedIn? This can be, oh, sorry, no, someone.
I was gonna say, feel free to even like share it on the chat if you guys.
Yeah, of course. I'll read it out. This. Hey, I love that, Jenna. Yeah. Honestly, post about this. Say that you learned some awesome stuff about LinkedIn. Yes, Jesna. Jesna. Is that right, Jesna? Say Jesna. Okay. That's amazing. Oh my God, Arushi too. Oh my God. I love ACM projects so much. You should definitely post about that. ACM projects was like the highlight of my freshman year. You guys are going to have an amazing time. I was a PM for a while too. It's going to be great. Congratulations. Definitely post about that. And then we had our technical committee interest meeting today for IEEE. Yes, post about that. If you did a presentation, if you went to a workshop that you thought was really helpful, if you had a kickoff meeting, if you got into something in school, like, post about it. These are really amazing things, guys. I love this. Yeah, post about all of those things. And it doesn't have to be super crazy long form, like 5-paragraph posts. Just like say like for ACM projects, for example, just because I know what that is. You can say like hey, like this. Again, rough, but like, hey, I got into ACM projects. This is a semester-long program where I'll be making a software project on a team and getting mentorship and all that stuff, and like make that sound better. But like that's kind of what a post for ACM projects would look like, is kind of say like, I got into this thing because of my skills and because I'm amazing, and here's what this thing is for those of you that don't know. Make sure that you say like, I got in this thing, here's what it is, and talk about how competitive it is. ACM projects is insanely competitive. Talk about that. And then for the technical committee interest meeting, like say like, hey, like we had this meeting today. Mira, I don't know if you were leading the meeting, but I'm sure you were in it. Yeah. So like say like we had this meeting today, here was my place in it, here's what the meeting was for, here's how many people showed up, like really just kind of brag a little bit, on your posts. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
Great points. And I think it's also great to share your personal experience as well. So some of the insights that you learned through the process, like when you're applying to ACM projects, like I bet you were reflecting on your past and you gained some insights, or maybe during the technical committee interest meeting, there might be one person that sparked an idea and how that provided an insight to yourself and ways that you can grow or ways you can grow the organization. So sharing those insights especially is really great because it shows the recruiters how you're thought-provoking and you are thinking beyond that, and you're able to assess yourself and you have the maturity to assess yourself. So those are some really great opportunities. And to the
accomplishments,
guys, like congratulations. I got rejected twice. So I mean, it's a really amazing opportunity that you guys have got. So yes.
This makes me feel so warm inside. So next up, we have Maida is going to start talking about career connections.
Yes, thank you so much, Caitlin. So, let's just there's a variety of ways that you can connect to several people through LinkedIn. Um, let's just say you're attending the UT Dallas Career Fair that's coming up in September. And if you guys have not thought about that, I highly suggest you go to the UT Dallas Career Fair and you talk to a recruiter from a company and you hit it off because you have that killer elevator pitch and you want to reach out to them again. So a really great way is you go to LinkedIn, you connect with them and add like a little note just describing who you are, how you met them. And once you kind of just connect with them, just be like, hey, I applied to the job that you you advised me to, and what are the next steps? And I think it's really great to tell that to a recruiter or an employer because they'll be like, oh, okay, you already did that. Let me just reach out to that person and see how I can take you on to get an interview. And that's how I've actually gotten a couple internship opportunities just by reaching out on LinkedIn through the UT Dallas Career Fair. So that's one way. Let's just say you also attended some amazing conferences, such as like the Grace Hopper Conference, and you meet so many people that are like you, and you want to still stay in touch. I actually personally have done that. I've met several people from all over US and the world through conferences, and I'm still in touch with them. So we actually kind of connected on LinkedIn and we started discussing and just figuring out a time to meet up. And so once we met up, we just realized that dang, like we have so much in common and we can advise each other. And so we still talk every weekend. Like I still make it a point to just meet up with them. So connections are really important. And whether it's with a recruiter or not, I feel as if the way that you network can help you like throughout. So I have a few steps in terms of how you can connect with some people as well. So let's just say you are also just scrolling through LinkedIn and you find a person's post really insightful and you're like, wow, this is very interesting. Comment on that person's post so they know that, hey, like you support that idea or you want to like discuss it even more and just privately message them being like, hi, I saw your recent post and I just thought that it was amazing and I would love to schedule a coffee chat. And most of the time, so that person will feel excited to kind of provide insight as well. So that's a really great way to reach out to people. And when you like schedule time to meet with them, make sure you figure out a date and a time and form an agenda beforehand within your head. So let's just say if you're meeting up for half an hour, you know what points you want to hit or you have an idea in terms of where you want to take the conversation. So that's an idea. And from there, at the end, always send a thank you note because they essentially took the time to meet up with you. And it's a great way to acknowledge that you talked to them and you both gained insight as well. And you never know where it might go. And that's just some points of advice. And I hope that might help. Does anyone have any questions about how to reach out or any other suggestions that they would like to add as well?
And all of these points also work for recruiters or any people like that. Like it's anyone on LinkedIn that you might want to talk to for any reason. This like these steps will work really, really well.
So Michelle asked a pretty good question. So she asked, is it better to email a thank you or send a physical card? And I personally think there's no harm in doing both, but if you just send like an email to them, I think they will able to like understand and reciprocate that you took the steps to. But let's just say it was really thought provoking and you want to send them a physical card, there's no harm to as well. But I mean, if you send an email, I think that satisfies the purpose. And you can even just message them on LinkedIn as well, saying like, hey, thank you for your time. That's also another way just to acknowledge that as well. Great. So is there any other questions? Okay, that sounds great. So, Caitlin, if we can go to the next slide, we kind of want to ask you, now that you have attended this workshop and you understand how it's important to network and kind of form those connections virtually, do you guys have anyone in mind that you want to reach out to as well? Feel free to unmute yourself or just put it in the Slack or in the chat.
Yes, and do. See, that's the spirit, honestly. Every single person we've talked to during the summer.
Yes, these are some really great points. Or even just connect with everyone in this call too. Like if you guys want, we can have a session at the end where we can put everyone's LinkedIn profile link so you guys can just connect with each other.
Yes, that is the move.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that, Natasha. Yeah, take advantage of the university lecture, like I guess these are like the special lectures that they have on the emails. But yeah, and definitely connect to those people. Ask them questions about their lectures. Like I'm sure they would love that. That's such a good idea. Yeah, and connect to UTD Suite. Thank you.
And if you want to also understand like more of our events as well, they're doing the marketing team is doing a fantastic job and just making sure all of the events are happening on LinkedIn and you guys are aware through that. So make sure you connect with us. Great. So now that we kind of talked about some people, I also want to announce our special guest. She is a LinkedIn influencer and she goes to UT Dallas too, which is really great. Her name is like Ayushi. She is currently, I think, a sophomore at UT Dallas, and she has some thousand followers on LinkedIn, and her posts are very thought-provoking. She provides a lot of insights, and I highly suggest to kind of just like talk to her and reach out to her as well. So Ayushi, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can add some just like talk about your experience in being a LinkedIn influencer and just some thought-provoking ideas as well that you want to share.
Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. Honestly, I'm flattered that you're considering me as an influencer, but thank you so much. And I think the main thing I would like to say is I know LinkedIn can get pretty daunting at first. You don't know what to do, you don't know how to post, you don't know how to talk to people, but it's just about getting started. Once you share that first post, once you post that first comment, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I would say just take the first step and make sure that you have a great profile, like Medha and Caitlin mentioned. Make sure your banner is on point, have a good headline, a good about section. Make it personal. Whenever somebody visits your profile, the first thing they will see is your profile picture, your banner, and your about section. So if those three things strike out to someone, they're more likely to go through the rest of your profile. And you don't have to be a content creator to get the most out of LinkedIn, even if you're just commenting on people's posts. Personally, I started out by just commenting, and not just any random person. Like, obviously, I would comment on my friends' posts and other co-workers, but I found out influential people on LinkedIn. I commented on posts that went viral, because when you do that, you are enhancing your own credibility. You are not only letting the person who you're commenting on know that you like their content, but you're also providing your own viewpoint. And when you do that, and if people like that, they will go over to your profile, they will initiate conversation with you. So commenting is a very, very, very good way to get started and, build that personal brand early on, because I know that creating posts is not for everyone, but leaving a comment is not that hard. I have created like several posts about commenting in general. So if you're ever confused about anything, head over to my profile. I'm always there to help you. And if you have ever any single question, please feel free to reach out. Send me a connection request, personalize that connection request so I know who you are. Tell me you came from this workshop, and I will always be there to help you. And thank you so much for this amazing workshop. Honestly, I'm even though I'm constantly on LinkedIn, I still learned a few things I didn't know about. So it's always great to attend these.
Thank you so much, Ayushi, for just sharing some words of wisdom with us. And she's really been popping. So, like, honestly, just look at some of her posts as well. I love how she really just segments it out and she puts like bullet lists about her insights. And she does it with really cute emojis as well. So it looks very organized and neat. And her formatting is really great, like what Aruchi mentioned. So Ayushi is just one of the many LinkedIn influencers that I personally know. I also wanted to like let you know about some other LinkedIn influencers as well. So if you are interested in pursuing a field in product management, Grace Young is amazing. I met her at one of the conferences I attended, and we still talk regularly. She provides some really great insights and content as well. Ashwini is also a really great person to reach out to. She has a lot of leadership experience and she has some really great feedback to provide as well. Adrian he actually went to my high school, which is really funny. But he really shined on LinkedIn, and if you are interested in technical sales, he's a really great person to reach out to because he's had a lot of technical sales and product marketing internships before at Slack and LinkedIn, and he provides a lot of his insight in how those experiences went. And Jonathan is another great person to reach out to. So Jonathan leads Onsulting, and Onsulting, I think Ayushi can mention a little bit more about this. So Ayushi, if you want, you can add something after I say my little spiel. But he runs this company called Onsulting, which is a consulting-based company, and he also has a lot of events that he provides through LinkedIn Live. So feel free to even go to those as well. And through this whole recruitment season, he's been providing a lot of really great insights. So Ayushi, I don't know if you want to add anything else about maybe other recommended influencers or talking a little more about Onsulting as well.
Sure. Honestly, consulting is the best thing that has happened to me this year, and I have attended almost all of the workshops they've conducted. They have brought in recruiters from every top tech company you can imagine: Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Intel, Disney, everything you can imagine. And when those people come and share their insights and how you can, stand out in the whole recruitment process, learning from those people who are actually a part of that industry is super duper helpful. And Jonathan and the other co-founders, Jerry, they share amazing tips and strategies on their own profiles, which have helped me. Like, they've honestly helped me so much. I cannot thank them enough. So please, please, please check out their profiles, check out Onsulting, attend their webinars, and I can guarantee, I can vouch for them that you will never leave empty-handed. So attend those. And another person I would like to recommend is Austin Henline. He shares amazing tips, and those are specifically geared towards college students. So you can learn awesome tricks and tips from him. I will drop his LinkedIn link in the chat section so everybody finds it easier to go and connect.
Great, thank you so much, Ayushi. So with that being said, this is the information that we planned out for you guys, and now it's up to Q&A. I know we talked about a lot of different aspects in terms of how to utilize your LinkedIn. So if you guys want to just have any questions that you guys want to share, feel free to put it in the chat or unmute yourself as well.
This is an oddly specific question, honestly. But you're talking about headers and stuff with LinkedIn, and I do a lot of like graphic design art, specifically like turning people into like really cute silhouettes. So I thought that'd be a really cute thing for me personally. What would you recommend is the best way, rather than just putting my name on the art, like to let recruiters know that like I can be creative in that way, I guess?
So I would say, so that art sounds amazing. So definitely do put your name on it, like put like made by in your name so that they know that you made it. But then also, like, you probably have a little bit of room left on the banner, I'm sure, like next to it. So maybe like go over, so you said that you were Mechie in marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but interested in marketing. So say like put like interested in graphic design and marketing and like a couple of those things and just like write it out there, and then they'll also see like the whole made by Natasha thing, and then they'll be like, oh my god, like she made this, like she is really good at this, you know, that sort of thing.
Okay, thanks.
That's how I would do it. Maida, do you have any?
I think really summarizes it all. Yes.
Sweet. I think that sounds awesome. I'm gonna go look for that. Let me know when you put that up. I'm gonna go look for that. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Oh, and then we can start doing our LinkedIn round robin too at the same time.
Yes.
Here, let me send. Okay, this is mine. I've made us up as well.
Perfect. I've also just included like some of the LinkedIn profiles of the other influencers that I mentioned as well. So I'm getting their LinkedIns.
I'm excited. I haven't met many of those people that made a mention, so I'm excited. Gonna learn a lot.
Yay, I'm so glad that you learned a lot. We really appreciate that. And also stay tuned for the continuation of our professional development series. So we have an event tomorrow where you have the chance to recruit and meet recruiters from Fannie Mae and other companies. So you have that private networking session with them before the career fair. So this like puts you in an advantage before the UTD career fair. So keep that in mind and make sure you attend that event tomorrow.
Sweet. If there are there any other questions? And if there are, we can wrap this up here. And I know that ACM is having an intern fair workshop right after this, right?
Yes.
That's something y'all want to look into.
So yes, Mira, if you want, I will re-include the link and the secret code again. So I will do that right now. The people that showed up a little bit late, here is